Wait. You ready?
Yep. Come in.
Hi, you've reached T and Berg. We're not home, so leave a message after the beep.
Where's that cat of yours? Spot is sleeping, sir. Why do you ask?
No reason. What are you doing?
Recent events have compelled me to study how humans perceive the passage of time. For example, I've often heard people comment that time seems to pass more slowly in one instance or more quickly in another. In reality, the actual passage of time remains fixed.
I suppose it depends on how people perceive time. Every situation is different. It depends on how you feel.
I've boiled the same amount of water in this kettle 62 times. In some cases, I have ignored the kettle. In others, I have watched it intently. In every instance, the water reaches its boiling point, and it appears I am not capable of perceiving time any differently.
How many of these have you had?
All different colors. Oh, working together. Why can't people get along like Jello?
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. 'Cause I was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see. Hi. I'm just wondering, have you got any kind of like sort of punky electronica kind of grime, kind of like new wave grime, but kind of maybe like more broken beats, like kind of dubby broken beats, but a little bit kind of soulful, like kind of drum and bassy, but kind of more broken drum and bass, like kind of broken beats, like breakbeat kind of broken drum and bass, kind of. Do you know what I mean? No? Hello? Oh, hi. How are you? Yeah, what, right now? Yeah, okay.
And so you see this leapfrogging of technology. Now, as to the Federal Reserve, and most people don't even know what this is and how it works. You know, the Federal Reserve Bank, the name is on the dollar bill. So it's a government organization, right? It's a government institution. No, it's not. It's a private company run by the banks that has the right to create money out of nothing and then sell that to the US government in exchange for debt, that has the right to create money out of nothing and then sell that to the US government in exchange for debt. That organization has the ability to create an infinite amount of money, set the interest rates between bank lending, and is completely independent of government control. And that was considered a good thing because government manipulated money. Now money manipulates government.
Mr. Potter!
And if that doesn't sound crazy to you, I mean, what does? That is insanity. And
너에게 널 위해 내 맘에 널 안고 싶어 내게 좀 더 가까이 널 느낄 수 있게 너를 이젠 보낼 수가 없잖아 널 좋아해 맞죠 오늘은 느낌이 더 맞죠 벌써 숨길 수 없어 널 만나봐 너에게 주문을 걸어봐 맞죠 너도 내 맘을 딱 느꼈죠 너를 놓칠 순 없어 널 보내기 싫어 네 만약에 나만 할 수 있게 주문을 걸어봐 Give me your love Give me your love 너를 마르게 빠져 헤어나올 수 없어 나만 할 수 있게 주문을 걸어봐 I seen a rainbow yesterday, but too many storms have come and gone, leaving a trace of not one God-given ray. Is it because my life is 10 shades of gray? I pray all 10 fade away, seldom praise him for the 7 days. And like his promise is true, only my faith can undo the many chances I blew to bring my life to an end. Clear blue and unconditional skies have dried the tears from my eyes, no more lonely cries. My only leading hope is for the folk who can't cope with such an enduring pain that it keeps them in the pouring rain. Who's to blame for to gain into your own vein? What a shame you're shooting aim for someone else's brain. You claim the insane and aim to stay in time for falling prey to crime. I say the system got you victim to your own mind. Dreams are hopeless aspirations and hopes are coming true. Believe in yourself.
Because the whole nature of the Godhead, according to this idea, is to play that he's not. The first thing he says to himself is, man, get lost. Because he gives himself away. The nature of love is self-abandonment, not clinging to oneself. Throwing yourself out, as in, for example, in basketball, you're always getting rid of the ball. You say to the other fellow, have a ball. See? And that keeps things moving. That's the nature of life. So in this idea, then, everybody is fundamentally the ultimate reality in the sense of being the self, the deep down basic whatever there is.
But you know, the longer you listen to this abortion debate, the more you hear this phrase, sanctity of life. You've heard that, sanctity of life. You believe in it? Personally, I think it's a bunch of shit. Well, I mean, life is sacred? Who said so? God? Hey, if you read history, you realize that God is one of the leading causes of death. Hindus, Muslims, Jews, Christians, all taking turns killing each other because God told them it was a good idea. I don't think it's something you can blame on God. Now, you know where the sanctity of life came from? We made it up. You know why? Because we're alive. Living people have a strong interest in promoting the idea that somehow life is sacred. The whole thing grows out of a completely biased point of view. It's a self-serving, man-made bullshit story. If everything that ever lived is dead, and everything alive is going to die, where does the sacred part come in? Mosquitoes and flies, because they're pests. Lions and tigers, because it's fun. Chickens and pigs, because we're hungry. Pheasants and quails, because it's fun. And we're hungry. And people, we kill people because they're pests. And it's fun. And you might have noticed something else. The sanctity of life doesn't seem to apply to cancer cells, does it? You rarely see a bumper sticker that says, save the tumors. Or I break for advanced melanoma. Viruses, mold, mildew, maggots, fungus, weeds, E. coli bacteria, the crabs. Nothing sacred about those things. So at best, the sanctity of life is kind of a selective thing. We get to choose which forms of life we feel are sacred, and we get to kill the rest. Pretty neat deal, huh? You know how we got it? We made the whole fucking thing up.
You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust, I'll arise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? Just because I walk as if I have oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I rise. Did you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries. Does my sassiness upset you? Don't take it so hard just because I laugh, as if I have gold mines digging in my own backyard. You can shoot me with your words, you can cut me with your lies, you can kill me with your hatefulness, but just like life, all right. Does my sexiness offend you? Oh. Does it come as a surprise that I dance? As if I have diamonds at the meeting of my thighs. Out of the huts of history's shame I rise. Up from a past rooted in pain I rise. A black ocean leaping and wide, welling and swelling and bearing in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak miraculously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the hope and the dream of the slave, and so. There I go.
Utilitarianism is an ethical theory that determines right from wrong by focusing on outcomes. It is a form of consequentialism. Utilitarianism holds that the most ethical choice is the one that will produce the greatest good for the greatest number. It is the only moral framework that can be used to justify military force or war. It is also the most common approach to moral reasoning used in business because of the way in which it accounts for costs and benefits. However, it's difficult to know with certainty whether the consequences of our actions will be good or bad, justice and individual rights.
All right, 10 more minutes of chanting, and then you guys have to go to bed.
I'm impressed.
You won't get Angel.
You think you can fight me? I'm not a demon, little girl. I am something that you can't even conceive. The first evil. Beyond sin. Beyond...
Have you ever stood naked in front of a mirror and looked at yourself? I mean, really looked. I did. This morning.
How was it?
Completely horrifying. Guys have it so easy. The expectations for a woman are hellish.
Is it?
You go into a store with raving PMS6, and you turn, and who do you see staring at you? 17 magazine cover girl. She has perfect skin and one of those killer bods you see in a late-night ab crunch machine infomercial. So you buy a basket of products and go home and sweat to the oldies. But eventually it dawns on you. You'll never be a 17 girl. Because they don't allow airbrushing in real life.
You know, Sam, I'm not saying this because we're bullets, but sometimes, under the right light, you totally escape troll status.
Am I, foxier than Brooke McLean?
Dear Diary, how many calories in a grape? I gained 1.7 pounds this weekend. There's a box of Raisinets. Josh on Friday, that's what did it. I know it. It's just that he stopped holding my hand halfway through the movie, and I crashed into this total panic, thinking he's disgusted by me, he's dumping me. This is so stupid. Everything I've worked hard for is happening. Isn't this the part where I'm supposed to be happy?
We think sometimes when things happen that don't go the right way, we think that when you don't pass the bar exam the first time, I happened to, but I was just lucky. I mean, my writing was so poor, the bar examiner said, we just got to let the guy through. We think that when someone dear to us dies, we think that when we lose an election, we think that when we suffer a defeat, that all is ended. We think, as T.R. said, that the light had left his life forever. Not true. It's only a beginning, always. The young must know it. The old must know it. It must always sustain us. Because the greatness comes not when things go always good for you, but the greatness comes and you're really tested when you take some knocks, some disappointments, when sadness comes. Because only if you've been in the deepest valley can you ever know how magnificent it is to be on the highest mountain. Always remember, others may hate you, but those who hate you don't win unless you hate them. And then you destroy yourself.
World, I want to leave you better. I want my life to matter. I watch the news on TV.
You probably don't want to mess with the mantis shrimp. Its claws have inspired modern body armor, and it strikes with 1,500 newtons of force, despite being quite tiny, what you would need to bench press around 150 kilograms. That strike is so powerful that it creates an unusual effect, one that physicists still haven't quite figured out. When the claws snap, the motion creates small, hot bubbles that collapse to release a powerful shockwave and even produce a small pulse of light. It's called sonoluminescence. Researchers can create sonoluminescence in the lab to study how exactly these collapsing bubbles produce light and why they are so hot. Because these bubbles aren't just a little warm, they are about as hot as the surface of the sun. All it takes to produce sonoluminescence is sound with the right frequency moving through water. Sound waves are really just molecules that oscillate back and forth, creating areas of higher and lower pressure. When sound moves through water, the water can get pulled apart enough that the areas of low pressure create a small bubble of water vapor in a process called cavitation. Cavitation bubbles aren't like the regular bubbles you're used to. Regular bubbles are made by releasing gas underwater, like when you exhale. Cavitation creates bubbles because the very low pressure essentially tears a gap in the water. Some molecules quickly evaporate into the bubble, so it's not a vacuum or anything, but these bubbles do have much lower air pressure than a regular bubble, so they collapse. The walls of the bubble push the inside smaller and smaller, so the pressure begins to rapidly increase.
Superior, inferior. Who's on top, who's on bottom. They don't know mutuality. They don't know commonality. If you can absorb the aggression, if you can show that you're not going to retaliate, you don't say anything, you just let it happen. The person usually, in a kind of subliminal way, maybe there's a way to connect that isn't all about imposing one's superiority.
As the bubble gets hotter, different chemical reactions start taking place. Most of the molecules actually react with one another. These chemical reactions could be releasing a small burst of energy. For example, at high enough temperatures, water vapor dissociates, meaning energy is absorbed as the molecule is ripped apart into hydrogen and hydroxide. Then, when these parts recombine again, they release that energy. The light of sonoluminescence could be that released energy, is that the bubble has enough energy to cause some of the electrons to break free of their atoms. So the bubble ends up with negatively charged electrons separated from positively charged molecules. In other words, plasma. And when the charged particles vibrate, they release radiation, like light. So it's possible that the gas inside the bubble is briefly turning into plasma, releasing light, and then turning back into gas again. And the process of plasma turning back into gas could also cause energy to be released in the form of light. This flash of light only lasts for about 10 billionths of a second, and it's hard to know for sure what's going on in that tiny fraction of a piece of time. But no matter how it happens, understanding a little bit more about sonoluminescence definitely makes me respect mantis shrimp.
Fresh out the box. Stop, look and watch. Ready yet? Get set. It's all that.
Yeah, you should get out and do what you want to do and forget it. Right? My son called me Dodo.
Yeah?
Uh-huh. And I was called D-Day, which was interesting before D-Day.
Right.
And Doris Marianne Capel Hall?
Have to be an optimist, kind of, I think.
I think so too. I think you have to believe in the potential of people. quite clear that I expect that if I get close to anybody, I'm going to get hurt, I'll be abandoned or made fun of. I'd rather believe in the possibility of goodness in people. I mean, you see it all the time in spite of everything that's happening in the world.
Something that you think is your biggest downfall, something that you think you're going to be ashamed of your whole life, if you let it, can be your superpower, you know?
Whatever. Black lives absolutely fucking matter.
We
And
think
especially right now more than
sometimes
ever.
when things happen
That is important to know.
don't go the right
I say
way.
that because it is so fucking very imperative to understand
We
that.
think that when
We are all human beings going through
you don't
something.
pass the bar exam the first time,
I stand with Black
I
Lives
happened
Matter.
to, but I was just lucky. I mean, my writing was so poor, the bar examiner said we just gotta let the guy
officer
through.
needs to pay for his crimes. We can't just let this fucking slide again. We're fucking done talking. We're done talking. That's why we're just not going to talk about it anymore. It's absolutely fucking horrific, and it needs to stop, okay?
Ease strained relations.
China's President Xi Jinping might be hard-pressed to admit the same.
This is a guy who doesn't have a democratic with a small d bone in his body. This is the guy who is a thug who...
Many Chinese now fear President Biden will do little to mend ties, which hit a low under President Trump.
Last 4 years was not an ideal year. A lot of misunderstanding, a lot of mistrust.
Henry Wong is president of China's biggest independent think tank.
I expect the relationship will be less China bashing and more realistic, more pragmatic. Will be less China bashing and more realistic, more pragmatic. More realistic, more pragmatic. More realistic, more pragmatic. More realistic, more pragmatic. More realistic, more pragmatic.
That reality includes Beijing's crackdown on Hong Kong's pro-democracy supporters. All of the city's pro-democracy legislators were ousted or resigned.
That's wrong. Don't touch the man there.
I was looking for this. The Global Times writing China would also strike at the U.S. and hard if there was conflict, and that China must forge its own path and be an invincible force.
Self-efficacy is the extent or strength of one's belief in one's own ability to complete tasks and reach goals. This can be seen as the ability to persist and a person's ability to succeed with a task. It affects every area of human endeavor. By determining the beliefs a person holds regarding his or her power to affect situations, it strongly influences both the power a person actually has to face challenges competently and the choices a person is most likely to make.
We're getting ready for a commercial. You see, he does that. I saw him getting ready to do that, and I didn't know whether to ask you the question and get into it before we had to do this. You see? This is real clever.
Try hell below us, but only sky. Imagine the people living for in my no countries. It isn't hard to kill or die for, and living life into you. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one.
It's the oldest story in the world. One day you're 17 and planning for Sunday. And then quietly, and without you ever really noticing, someday is today. And then someday is yesterday. And this is your life.
We spend so much time wanting, pursuing, wishing. But ambition is good. Chasing things with integrity is good. Dreaming.
If you had a friend you knew you'd never see again, what would you say? If you could do one last thing for someone you love, what would it be? Say it. Do it. Don't wait. Nothing lasts forever.
Make a wish and place it in your heart. Anything you want. Everything you want.
Do you have it? Good.
It's true what they say, it takes a village.